You know, I was so inspired today by the different language communities and cultural communities coming together and learning about every accent. Even if you don't understand people's languages, just seeing how they express themselves in their mother tongue is so powerful. What I'm hoping is that people overcome this inferiority that is associated with African languages or indigenous languages, and that they will just take pride and invest in their languages and see their languages as powerful and funky, you know, and that if we live on the continent of Africa and we travel, that should be our desire to learn Iswahili or Lingala or other African languages, just as it's our desire to learn as many African languages as possible. And I think we must really start decolonizing English and Afrikaans as only colonial languages and see the potential of those languages to also build bridges. And when we, for example, when we develop children's books, small children's books, that we make that possibility of writing the book, for example, in an African language and Afrikaans, or an African language and English, or even in the Western Cape, I've seen children's books in 3 languages. And it's so easy then, as an adult learning this language, to first start with the children's stories. So I'm really hopeful that after today that we will start embracing our African heritage. At the same time, you know, I teach at Stellenbosch University, and I develop multilingual terminology, technical terminology, and then in the classroom we speak about many contested terms. And for example, when the Afrophobic attacks now occurred, we spoke in the class, and there were interpreters interpreting what students were saying. And it was so powerful to hear in some of the African languages that actually a word like amakwere is still common in many African language households. So I think just as we have racism that we must break down in South African society, we also have racist terms that still exist in the various languages, and we must actively work against that. Today here we've also seen the hierarchy of in certain communities in the Western Cape, for example, where it's more fashionable to speak English, or if you speak a certain Afrikaans or Kaaps, it's not good enough. You know, they say you sturvy, or you think you are better than others. So I think there's also a lot of suppression within language groups that we must address. We can't just talk about different language groups accepting and reaching out to one another, which is crucial, but also within ourselves, you know, that in certain language groups there's a certain status that's associated with the more standard version. And I think what was said today is let's embrace the informal vernaculars as well, and give them credibility as well, and in that way we're also going to reach out to ordinary people and not just make it like this standard language and too academic. We don't want to associate with it. Yeah, so I'm very positive after today.